of this place. Number 4, disaster mapping, not only in Kasese, but the entire country. Because this is a season for heavy pounding storms and rains and floods. Let's get a mapping plan in terms of disasters, not only in Kasese, but countrywide. Number 5, UNRWA, Mr. Minister. Number 6. Number 5, can we save the roads? You can hardly get to connect one community to another community. UNRWA, please find the money. If you don't have the money, speakers right here, we're here. You can ask for a supplementary budget, and we have the roads. Roads fixed not only in the Kasese communities, but the entire country. Very lastly, Madam Speaker, as I take leave to give my honorable minister sister a chance, compensation. Kasese people, you're familiar with our communities. Now, putting up some iron sheet roofed house takes about maybe a decade. Now, all of these houses are being swept away. We have about 257 houses. Madam Prime Minister.
Is that compensation or rehabilitating the people who have been affected?
Well, Madam Speaker, with your guidance, it should be rehabilitating. Government, please, can you look around within our system or disaster fund and at least allocate sufficient iron sheets to these communities? Because we're going to have people that have nowhere to stay and I don't have money to facilitate that process.
Thank you.
My honorable sister,
Honorable Atkins, do you have a district disaster committee report to show us the extent of destruction?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for your wise leadership. Yes, myself and my woman member of parliament have already appealed to the district authorities to ensure that they fast track, they see it as a committee, the district disaster committee, so that they assemble the impact and then it's sent us for my woman member of parliament to cover in terms of documentation and then send it to the office. But also, Madam Speaker, let me also applaud the government. Every time we get a disaster knocking on our community, government is always fast. But this particular disaster, Madam Prime Minister, I don't know what's going on. The community is waiting for you to go and assess by yourself the impact so that you can have relevant intervention. Appreciate it, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Florence, would you want to say something small?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance to talk about this issue. There is an additional information I want to pass to the House, Right Honorable Speaker. It's about the fraudulent payment of land meant to resettle people who were affected by floods 2 years ago, but this money has been given to a fraudster, a person who is not supposed to be given that money at the expense of the rightful owners. Right Honorable Speaker, one man called Ise Jemba forged a land title, went to the district authorities and told the leaders that he has land to sell. Having heard that government released money to pay for land meant to resettle these people. Without verifying, the leadership paid this man and the farmers are at the verge of being displaced. A few days ago, Right Honorable Speaker, Ise Jemba was given security to plant markstones around that land, and the farmers had no say over that. My prayer, Right Honorable Speaker,
who gave him security?
Sorry?
Who gave him security?
The RDC and the chairperson LC5. My prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, is that you ask the Minister of Lands to intervene, and also the Office of the Prime Minister that released that money without verifying whether this land had no issues. Right Honorable Speaker, it is only your directive that will save the people who are about to lose their land. We are at your mercy, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Government.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you, colleagues, for raising this issue. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg for your indulgence. Since the ministers who have been handling the same issue, who have dispatched teams are here, I request that you give them an opportunity to explain. We have the minister in charge of disaster is here, the minister in charge of works and transport is here, and also the minister in charge of environment, because all this is a result because of environmental degradation. If you accord us some few minutes. Right, Honourable Speaker.
That is fine, Prime Minister. Why I say government? Because I want you to be the one to select your ministers. I am giving you the respect that you should be the one in charge of your leadership.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to thank my senior colleague for raising this issue of Kasese. Right Honourable, I also had a one-on-one with him yesterday on this issue. We know very well that Kasese is one of the most vulnerable districts in the country with disaster issues. You gave me a directive last week to respond to Tororo, Ibanda, and Kasese. So the team has already done its assessment, and we are preparing to send food to this, particularly the 3 districts which you directed me, Right Honourable. Right Honourable, the issue of the land is a very serious issue, and it is already, the alarm was raised, and the office of the IGG is handling this issue. So it is also very unfortunate that someone has gone ahead to continue to put landmarks on this land, and yet it has a contentious issue for us to be resolved. But it's being handled by IGG and also the staff who did the administrative issues. Thank you.
Could we find out whether there was a due diligence done before the disbursement of the money to the fraudster?
Right Honourable, that is what should be investigated maybe in your directive. But otherwise, what I know is the land of Kayunga was paid, and the one of Kasese. The only land that we have not yet paid, I think, is the one of from Toroko district, because even as we have this land, including the one of Kasese, we need funds to resettle these people, because you cannot just grab people from where they are now and put them on bare land. We need to plot the land, and then we also need to put some structures for the IDPs.
Honourable members, we need to handle the issue of the land. If the land is not belonging to the person who has sold to government, then any transaction in regard to that land must stop. Any transaction must stop until clearance of that land is done. And the persons, I want to ask the Minister of Presidency, who is aiding the person who is defrauding people, to ensure that his RDC, her RDC, stops whatever they are doing. How can you arm somebody who is taking land from other people? I want the Minister of Lands to go to Kasese and report back to this House on Wednesday on what her findings are. The Minister of Lands must report to this House on Wednesday.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. The Minister of Lands, the Minister in charge of Presidency will make statements and explanations of what has transpired and why such action took place. But Right Honourable Speaker, even a criminal is supposed to be protected. Yes, so that he comes to give and explain all of that, because if his or her life is in danger, must also be protected. But that doesn't mean that the powers given to the RDCs as the chairperson of the security in a district should be abused. I thank you.
Honourable Prime Minister, let's not condone crime. Now, you want to protect criminals, and that's why we even want an explanation from your office of how that money was paid. We want to know how you release the money to the person you don't know. What basis you use to give out the money. And now you're even protecting. Your office is even protecting the person. We want to know that.
Right Honorable, we shall explain to the country. Thank you.
You need to explain to this country and protect the people who have their own land from being defrauded. On how you release the money, on what basis did you do due diligence, and how much was it, and who gave you authorization to do it, and how much you took as a commission. That is, no, that is a joke. That is a joke.
Madam Speaker, the laws of the country are very clear. Once a criminal has been identified, there's a way how they are protected. They are protected in the police cells,
Yes.
or they are taken. So wouldn't the Prime Minister now here, having admitted that they have identified the criminal and they have, that this criminal is arrested and properly arraigned before court, and then they are kept in gazetted places where criminals are kept, and allowing the criminal to be roaming
Actually,
around?
they are kept in a safe place. Thank you so much, Wax.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Before I respond, Right Honourable, there was a little bit of exaggeration in the submission of the Honourable colleague, where he mentioned that the entire Kasese was washed away. It's not true. There are parts of Kasese, because by the time the event happened, the scenario happened, he was there. If it was the entire Kasese, he couldn't be in this house. However, we have dispatched a team of 7 engineers.
Honorable Fred, have you ever been to Kasese yourself?
I've gone there twice, Right Honourable Speaker.
Do you know the nature of the land in Kasese?
I know it is quite terrible, Right Honourable.
So you don't start with that. Tell us what you've done. It's not about coming to defend. What have you done?
Right Honourable Speaker, we have dispatched a team of 7 engineers. They're on the ground right now, trying to see the best option they can advise us to go to, so that we can rescue our Ugandans there. They access their homes and other services in this country. And come tomorrow, they'll be back. Then by next week, we shall respond to the situation. Thank you very much.
You're going to report on action taken or report on whether people have gone or not?
Okay, Right Honourable.
We want you to, we want Fred, we want you to report on the action that you've taken so far. The immediate action, the medium, and then maybe the long term.
Much obliged, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Environment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to seriously sympathize with the people of Kasese. I've been there many times. There was a time when we went there with the Egyptians and removed the boulders. You know, whenever it rains, huge stones are washed down, and these boulders were creating...
Honorable Atkins, I am going to call Sarah.
These boulders were creating, were stopping water from freely flowing. So we did some work with the Egyptians. We built gabions. Then we thought that what we had done would sort out the problem. And unfortunately, it was too little. But, you know, if you have been to Kasese, it is really a very, very interesting terrain, because it is, I don't know how you call it, there's a hill this side, this side, this side, this side. No, it is not like Sebei, which is mountainous. This one is a very funny mountainous area. And as a ministry, we had to come up with the idea of tree planting. In fact, we had started bamboo planting. Yes. So, as a ministry, we intend to continue with tree planting. I'm glad now, Right Honourable Speaker, that the tree fund has been approved by Cabinet. So, with the approval of Cabinet, we expect to get money for tree fund. And I think this is the time when we should concentrate on Kasese. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Zijan.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable. I rise on a matter of urgent public importance regarding the absence of sign language interpreters in our courts of judicature. Right Honourable. Right Honourable Speaker, all over the country, in our criminal justice system, there are no sign language interpreters.
Is it only in court or even in Parliament of Uganda?
I am talking about court because it really touches the fundamental rights of accused persons, Right Honourable. That when an accused person is brought before court who has a hearing impairment, they are not able to understand the charges or the indictments against them, and therefore they cannot plead. Courts cannot enter a plea. And if a plea has not been entered, the judicial officer cannot admit the accused person to bail. The option they remain with is to remand this accused person who has not entered a plea. Right Honourable Speaker, this is a gross violation of the rights of accused persons who have hearing impairments because it offends the cardinal principles of law, especially fair hearing and the presumption of innocence. I have made calls to different registries around the country, and they say that they will train some people. But they don't explain how long this training will take, implying that those who are victims of this human rights violation, Right Honourable Speaker, will continue to suffer until people have been trained, as if there is no unemployed sign language interpreter in this country.
Thank you.
My prayers, Right Honourable Speaker, is that this House summons the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, specifically Honourable Norbert Mao, to explain this indefensible violation of the law. And I say specifically him because I know that he's a land colleague and he understands the gravity of this violation. Number two, that the House follows up this complaint as a matter of urgency to cure the continued violation of the rights of accused persons with hearing impairments, Right Honourable Speaker. At least, if the Ministry of Justice could provide one sign language interpreter per High Court statute, so that when a judicial officer is faced with this kind of situation, they can call up so that this person receives a fair hearing. I so
Thank
pray,
you.
Right Honourable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Summoning Honorable Mao is not a solution. What we need to do as this House is to ensure that we enhance the budget for special needs education or for special needs people. Even this House needs a what? An interpreter. So we need to put it in our budget that this must be provided for so that we have in every institution. So I think you just love Mao. Yes?
Right Honourable Speaker, we have a policy to do with the sign language, and we also have a policy to do with the special needs. And these have been scattered in different policies. But the good news on Monday, this was brought as one document, bringing all those that were scattered into one document. And it was passed on Monday in Cabinet. The Minister in charge of Gender, Labour and Social Development will be coming to lay it on table in Parliament, but also proceed to write to all the ministries and also guide the private sector at the time which is ripe now that we are in the budget cycle. This should be part of what will be included in the budget, like you have just said it, Right Honorable Speaker, for all government institutions, but also guidance to the private sector. So I want to thank the member who has raised it. You are in time. Just ensure that we bring the policy and it's also incorporated in the budgets of the different departments in government. Thank you.
Thank you. Second Mire. Summarize your issue.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm raising on the matter of war memorial sites, the mass grave which turned into historical sites across the country. Right Honorable Speaker, most of the sites are hosting skulls, bones, war equipment from the armed conflicts. Right Honorable Speaker, in my constituency, for instance, I have got 2 memorial sites. That is to say, Mukonga in Chamusi, Kalangalo sub-county, and one in Chikandwa parish, Chikandwa sub-county. But all these memorial sites are abandoned and left to no good use. Right Honorable Speaker, these sites would be useful for tourism and education of our young generation, but are totally ignored. Right Honorable Speaker, my prayer, I pray that Ministry of Tourism updates this House on the status of each memorial site across the country. 2, government should rehabilitate the roads leading to these important sites. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Members, remember we have a bill that is going to cover all those gaps. Yes.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank the member for raising this, and I also thank you for the guidance you have given. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue concerns our history as Uganda, also as NRM, and also concerns us in terms of tourism. So the prayers he has made, Right Honorable Speaker, most obliged, we are going to make sure they are implemented. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, Macho. Macho, you speak from there. Why do you want to move?
Madam Speaker, I take your advice seriously, although it is a very grave, important matter.
Okay, you come in front.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for this rare opportunity, because some of us have been habitual backbenchers for now 6 years, so coming here is a blessing. Madam Speaker and my colleagues, I raise a matter of national importance on behalf of my people, the bosses who voted me here, the people of Busia municipality. Madam Speaker, the business we do in our constituencies, majorly by my people, apart from cross-border trade, we do a lot of enterprises in hairdressing, welding, artisan, and all this needs electricity. Madam Speaker, I'm speaking with pain that Busia as a district, sometimes, so far now 8 months, can go for a week without electricity in Busia. And sometimes we are portioned electricity that we get power 3 days, sometimes 4 days. And the same even to the place of the Right Honorable Prime Minister, who is seated here with us. Therefore, Madam Speaker, this is a problem to our business community, that people who earn from welding are no longer working. ladies and gentlemen with saloons are not working, and moreover, government gave them money of imyoga. The fact, Madam Speaker, my people, I'll give an example of Western Division. One parish was given 7 million, and when we divided, every person got 5,000 shillings, although they brought you together and put up enterprises. And major of these enterprises are welding, but they are not working because of lack of power. I therefore have a prayer. Madam Speaker, my prayer number one, excuse me, Madam Speaker, I need your protection. I'll give you, but let me drive this. Prayer number one, Madam Speaker, I request the Minister of Energy to go to Busia, district at large, and tell people why there is always load shedding, because as a result, 14 women have died in Health Center for Busia Red Cross and in Imasa. So will give information on that. And secondly, Madam Speaker, I request that you allow us, through the Prime Minister who is here, next week when we shall have no power, we tie a umeme worker on a post of electricity so that we demonstrate that really our people are going through serious pain by having their enterprises stalled without making any money. Information.
Honorable Macho, I will not allow you to do an illegality. First withdraw the illegality you want me to allow you.
Madam Speaker, I withdraw.
What have you withdrawn? All your prayers?
Madam Speaker, I withdraw and request my people not to tie a umeme worker on electric pole. I do withdraw, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for also granting me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, that issue is not only in Busia. Yesterday at around 9 p.m., the entire country experienced a power outage, Hoima City inclusive. And Madam Speaker and honorable members, this is not the first time that it has taken place. For the last 2 months, we have been experiencing power outages throughout the country. And Madam Speaker, electricity being one of the major factors of production, as a shadow minister, I've been approached by traders, a number of manufacturers, individuals, specifically complaining about their electronic appliances which have been destroyed in the process of these outages. Right, Honorable Speaker, my prayers. One, that the Minister of Energy brings before this House a comprehensive explanation to what could be the root cause of these outages. Secondly, the Minister of Energy, Madam Speaker, should also come out to this House and explain the immediate interventions that the Ministry has taken to permanently solve this problem. I beg to submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you for the information, my colleague. Madam Speaker, Honorable Nyangweso had requested for information.
Honorable, can we finalize?
Madam Speaker, I beg that I summarize by giving my colleague, because when I don't give him to be a problem in
okay,
Busia for me.
you now take your seat.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Dennis Nyangweso. I represent Samyavugwe Central. The information I wanted to give my honorable colleague and the House is that Samyavugwe Central has been privileged to have access to water, but this water has been pumped by electricity. And now for the last 9 months, because of load shedding of electricity, people have no access to water. The only hospital in the district, the general hospital, has had 9 women dying due to operations which take place, and there is power outage at that same time. So that's the information I wanted to give. Thank you so much.
I think this issue is affecting the whole country and government.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you, members, for raising this issue. It's very unfortunate that we have lost lives of mothers and all other Ugandans because we have not been able to offer electricity at a time when they most needed it to save their lives. But Right Honourable Speaker, I commit myself that the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development with your permission, accord her space on the order paper so that the explanation is given, accountability for what has happened, and also the way forward to avoid this in the future. I thank you.
Thank you. We'll expect a report from the minister next week before we break off for recess. Next item.
Item 4, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Public Service and Local Government on the petition on salary enhancement discrepancies for nurses and interns.
Is the chairperson here?
Item 5, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Physical Infrastructure on the delayed payment of contractors hired by the Uganda National Roads Authority.
Also, the chair is not here.
Item 6, motion for adoption of the report.
Get me those chairs who are not in the house when they...
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Foreign Affairs on an oversight visit to the Uganda High Commission in London, United Kingdom.
Honorable members, the basic role of the diplomatic mission is to represent and safeguard the interests of the country. Can you first sit? The country and its citizens in the host country. Over the years, we have had concerns about the state of Ugandan's mission abroad, not only in one mission, several missions, almost all the missions. This report will give this House an insight of what is happening in the missions abroad, especially UK, because we've had numerous reports on what is happening with the missions. So the chairperson is going to briefly present the report, a summary of the report, their findings, and their recommendations. So, Chair, and after this report, then we go back to action taken reports.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving us this opportunity. And in haste, Right Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Committee of Foreign Affairs, may we thank you very much for propagating support for the committee that is now actually allowing it to effectively execute its mandate. So thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. But before I make the presentation, may I lay on table the minutes of the report of the committee. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, may I now present the report of the Committee of Foreign Affairs on an oversight visit to Uganda High Commission in London. And that took place between the 20th and 26th of August 2022. The terms of reference for the oversight visit as follows, and they are listed from A to K. And Right Honorable Speaker, because of time, I shall expound that on the findings and observations. First is the mandate of the entities. Rule 187K of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament mandates the Committee of Foreign Affairs to cover 1, missions abroad, and 2, bilateral, multilateral, and international relations. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the reporting on findings from the missions abroad is cross-cutting, and that is due to the fact that several services and programs which are provided and run at the mission cut across various sectors, including but not limited to trade, internal affairs, security, and infrastructure. infrastructure. These issues have a bearing on economic and commercial diplomacy, which is a docket under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The mandate of the Uganda High Commission in London, one is to protect the interests of Uganda, two, to protect Ugandans living abroad,